Alright everybody, we're back at it again here. It's the first time we got the microphone on. So let's go ahead and take care of it. We're working on the Genesis. So this is going to be, I'm going to try not to edit as much. This is going to be pretty much a raw video. So let's get to it. Alright everyone, so this is like a 2015 Genesis. Can't remember what year it is. What we're going to do, we need windshield washer. We need the coolant. It goes here. It also goes in here. And then we're going to do an oil change on it as well. Haven't worked on these in a while, so you know, we're going to try and get it done without making a mess or anything. So here we go. And just like I said, so a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, well, it's a Genesis. Well, yeah, the Genesis is also a Hyundai, pretty much. So this is the first one in a while that I've seen that it's an 8-cylinder engine. So, I mean, it's pretty cool that Hyundai has this going on. ¿Mande? Hey, acá está. So I might have to edit that part out for sure. But yeah, so we got the coolant here. We could add it here. This goes directly into the radiator. This one goes into a reservoir. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add it on both kind of thing. And then, like I said, we got the oil change right here. Usually on the caps, you know, they tell you it takes 5W20. Takes about 8 quarts, I believe they said on this one. Boom, this is just dirty. So we're gonna get it taken care of. We're gonna get it taken care of. We also got one more customer client here coming pretty soon, so we gotta get this one done fairly quick. The only reason we're kind of removing this is just to check for leaks or anything. You know, make sure nothing looks out of the ordinary. We pretty much know. So, I mean, it's a fairly new car. I mean, it is 10 years old, but it should be fine. So in here, pretty much, we gotta remove almost all of this. So. It'll be 10mm bolts, but this is where we put the jack stands on, or the lift. Should be in between here, but just as long as it's on the metal piece, it's fine. Like I said, it goes onto the 4 sides. So let's go ahead and start taking all of these off, and then we should get some clearance towards the engine itself. What? Where we going? I'm recording. Alright, so we removed this first one to be able to get to the filter here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's the oil filter. And either way, we gotta remove this one to get to the drain plug, so. We only got about 3 broken bolts as of now, so not bad. Just unlucky kind of thing. I know. We're just setting up for this drain plug. I'm almost positive it's a 17. And I stand corrected. Give it a couple love taps. Just had to make sure that it was the drain plug. And we leave it draining. The drain is right there. So we kind of got to remove that whole thing to be able to get to that. And then like I said, there's the oil filter right there. So we'll do that after we drain the oil. That sucks a little bit. Oh. We're gonna stop that one. We're gonna get this filter taken care of. There we go.
We're bringing it down, Jesse. We're just slow. I told Jess, I was like, you tell Connie she owes me an ice cold Mountain Dew for all this extra weight I have to do now.
Man.
I think it wasn't even the same part number, not even close.
Fucking Connie.
Fucking Connie.
It's okay, we forgive her because it's Connie.
Oh.
How many things does she hit? There we go. So to remove the filter, we'll need a 24 millimeter for that middle. There's a middle socket right there, so we'll lift it up. We'll spin it. Boom. We got the filter cap off. We just gotta take off the filter. There we go. And now we wait for parts. Meanwhile, we'll move to this one. Alright, what's going on, everybody? We're still back at it again with this Genesis again. It's a Monday. We left it off for the weekend with the filter off. The drain plug was on, so nothing to worry about. Nothing was dripping that I can think of, so that's good, right? So for now, so this is where the filter goes, right? This cap goes in there like that, but we still need to put in the filter, and we need to change this O-ring that goes right there. So we're gonna point the camera down here a little bit. Let me get the filter real quick. So before we put the filter on, so kind of like a quick way to take off this, what I do is I just pinch it. Let me make it, boom, there we go, boom. So I kind of just pinch it from the sides. And then kind of try and get a hold of it a little bit, boom. And then just kind of work around it, pull it off. And boom, there we go. It's off. No. How to learn. And with the school year 6, without the school year. One thing I did find out, so then we'll get the new one. And you'll just hold it from one end. Kind of just go around. Boom. Goes in like that. Boom. So then we'll get the filter. Let me get the filter real quick. This is what the filter looks like. Boom. That kind of just goes in there. Like this. Boom. Just push it in. Should stay in there. It can move around, but it shouldn't come off, you know? So, but yeah, like I was saying, it was 6 years. 6 years without the school year, 7 years with the. Yeah, so, boom. So for this one, it's a 24 millimeter socket, and I use a 1/2 inch with this. We just kind of go slow and easy, make sure we don't damage that seal. I've had made the error that I do damage it, not on this car, but I believe it was a, boom, right there. I believe it was a Chevy Equinox, I believe. They have something similar, but it's just on top instead of it being at the bottom. So the new filter comes with the screw like this. The screw goes right here. Comes with the O-ring. Make sure we don't damage that, and make sure we see that it has one. Boom, 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 boom. Just kind of tying it fairly right there. There we go. So now we move back over here to the drain plug. And let me get this camera wiped off for y'all real quick. A lot better. So this right here is the drain plug. So damn, I hit my head. Fuck. We'll see how much. Oh, so you see there still is some through time. You know, like I said, I left it over the weekend, and supposedly it had drained out. It had everything drained out. So you see, in oil changes, we're never gonna get everything out. It kind of just takes time for it to settle. It takes time for the oil to settle after it's been running for a bit. Things like that, you know. So but it's fine. So like I said, we're just gonna let this drain for a little bit. We're not gonna be able to get everything out of it. Meanwhile, we just look for any oil leaks, coolant leaks, or anything, because the oil was a bit low and dark, but also it's low on coolant. Not super low, but it's low. So we got to keep in mind that these cars come from auction. They come for a reason, at least where I work, you know. I work at a dealership, but the dealership is a used car dealership. So that should be enough. Still has a slow, steady stream. But like I said, we got most of it. We got a lot more than we would have if we would have just done it on Friday. So that's good. And then we kind of just put it back in, put it back together. Wrong one. And now I gotta look for my fucking tools. ¿Dónde le pasa callada, hijo? Give it a couple love taps. Boom. Just to be sure. Not too hard. But like I said, it's just to make sure that we know it's tight in there. So boom. Wipe that off. Boom. So now we're ready to come down. So, like how I told ya, coolant goes here. This is kind of like the dipstick for the coolant. You know, nothing was on there. The coolant goes in here. Coolant does also go all the way over here. I don't know if we could see. There we go. We switched it a little bit. So, coolant goes all the way over here. This is where the radiator is. This is the coolant reservoir. Oil. And then the oil dipstick is literally somewhere over here. I don't know if y'all can see that one or not. Well, I can't do this. Dipstick's over here for the oil. Dipstick and coolant reservoir. Oil. And coolant goes in here. So let's do that. So for the oil, we are using Advanced Fram 520. Pretty sure it's what it called out for. So whenever you're doing an oil change, something that you can think of is it kind of tells you on the thing itself. I do believe Mercedes, Audi, BMW, those are the ones I can only think of right now. Probably Volkswagen, all those German cars. I think they only tell you like this, so it'll kind of just tell you see owner's manual instead of letting you know what it is. So for this one, I believe it takes like 8 quarts or something like that. And each of these is 5. So we just went ahead and ordered 2 of the big ones, cheaper in a way. You know, I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I haven't used a funnel in a bit. You see, that's right, we wouldn't need a funnel. It's okay, we'll clean that up. But yeah, if you don't feel comfortable doing like a free fall, this is what I kind of call like free fall. Go ahead and use a funnel for sure. You know, like I said, it's better to do it clean than making a mess and making the engine look messy. So, boom, there's 5 quarts. You know, and everybody has their way of. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, this is the right way of pouring oil," or "This is the right way to do an oil change." You know, for me, I've tried different methods that I've been taught. Well, not really different. There's not a whole lot, honestly. But, you know, I usually pour a little bit under. So like this one, they say it takes about 8 quarts. I usually pour about 6 or 7. Like I said, dependent on the vehicle itself as well. You know, some cars only take 4. Ooh, almost hit my foot. Oh my goodness. Some cars only take 5, others take 4.5. There's some that take 6, others take 7 or whatever. But you see, so we poured about 7. And it's like right below it, right above the minimum line. So we're gonna go ahead and pour a little bit more. We poured about 7 in it, you know. So we're gonna go ahead and pour about another half a quart, just to see where it is. Or we'll probably go ahead and pour 8 because it is pretty low. Or get as closer to 8 as possible. We do gotta remember, we did not fill. Not a lot of people fill the filter, you know. You kind of can't. But you see, we added 8, and it's at the middle. So we're this is where I was going with it. The filter takes, sometimes it can take about half a quart. So we're just gonna go all the way, not all the way to the top, not like all the way to super full, but close enough because that level is gonna drop. Why? Because there's gonna be fluid going into the filter that's gonna stay there. If that makes sense. And that's where I said it's kind of like depends on how people do oil changes, because you also can. So right there, we went close to the top, right? So this is probably going to drop down to about here, halfway, which to me is ideal. A lot of people are like, oh no, well you have to have it full. To me, it's more like man, that's why they set level. They set levels right there, you know, for a reason. And for me, it's kind of like a bullseye type thing. You get it as close to the middle as possible, right? So that's just the way I think of it. And this, I kind of just like to face it. That way, it's not super hard, you know. Someone else opens it. Oh, 520, boom, quick. They don't have to. Oh my goodness, let me look around, you know. So yeah, that's exactly why. And we ended up pouring almost 9. We put in about 8.5, so that is crazy. Let me see where we have for this. It's kind of mixed already. I mixed it up on Friday. It's the orange one. You know, this is what they sent us down. Usually we give them, whenever we ordered parts, I like to give them the VIN. That way they could just pull up what it is that it needs. Okay, so it wasn't super low actually. And that's gonna be the hard one. So, radiator coolant's full, which is good. We're just gonna go ahead and get that one. Get this one onto level. But let me find a funnel first, because that's a small hole. And I don't feel comfortable pouring it in like that, so. We found one. Let's go ahead and clean it out though. I don't know what these dudes, I don't know what they use it for, or have used it for. But it doesn't hurt to clean something out, you know. Boom. Perfectly. Boom. We get this and we fire away. And we kind of just go little by little. You know, we don't want it super full. We just want it, like I said, there's a level. So there's the F right here. Let me go F down here. The L low. So we want it in between that right there. So we kind of just put this all the way down. There we go. Lift off. And it's all the way, oh shoot, too far. It's all the way up to 4. I don't know if you can see that a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely up there already, so we're good to go. And we're pretty much done. Now we just kind of gotta shut this real quick. Boom. And we put it on backwards. So boom. Boom. Car's ready to pretty much go. Kind of just give it a quick wipe down. It's gonna get detailed either way, but you know, I do this for my clients outside of here. Kind of just give a quick wipe down. Get my prints out of it, you know, I'm just playing. But nah, usually just do that. So, there we go. Pretty much ready to go. So now the next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to reset. I'm going to carry you guys with me. Sorry, my finger looked terrible. Next thing we're going to do, get in the car, of course, you know. Boom. Turn this on. Boom. There we go. That right there. Scary, right? Let me clean these cameras for y'all real quick, man. I want y'all to be able to see what I'm doing, you know. Oh my goodness. It looks a lot better. But so, what we're gonna do, boom, boom. Oh my goodness, yes, I know. We're gonna go down. trying to figure this out too, honestly. Let's see what it is. Kind of reset that. Reset that trip as well. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. There's that. There we go. So you guys are gonna go to that thing right there, right? So, little wrench. Boom. We're gonna go to the wrench. Oh my god, let me clean this camera for you real quick. A lot better, a lot better. So you guys are gonna go to that wrench right there, right? Don't pay attention to that. We do got the hood up, so we're gonna use these right here. Come on, focus. Why doesn't this want to focus? Come on. There we go, baby. We're gonna use these buttons right here. So you're gonna press OK. Boom. This moves that around. This is for pages. So like so right there. We just press OK. Watch how that goes away. There we go. So we're gonna use the pages. Check this out. Oh my goodness. So boom. Switches all of that. This controls that. Boom. Controls that. So we're just gonna keep clicking it until we get to either it'll show that or it'll show the tire pressure monitors. That's what it'll show. What it says right there is come on. There we go. Hold OK. So hold OK and reset, right? So we're gonna do this. We're gonna press that right there, OK, and we're just gonna hold it. Come on. And we're just gonna hold it, reset, boom. So now, reset, 5,000 miles, 152 days. I don't know how I feel about that. Usually what I like to do is every 3,000 miles. I want to see, simply because, you know, oil gets every 35,000 miles for me, you know. And like I said, it kind of depends. It kind of depends on the people. Usually we do. Usually that's in 4 months. Depends on how much you drive it. We'll go ahead and save that. There we go. We'll go back to the display right here. Boom. Miles per hour. We'll turn the car off, and then we'll go ahead and start it again. Boom. And there we go. So now what we do, what I like to do is I like to get out the car and just come here, make sure nothing's leaking, make sure everything's fine. We already checked that, so now what we're gonna check is down here. Make sure that it's not leaking or anything, and it definitely looks okay. So my fault, put that finger on that camera. I apologize, everyone. Saw my nasty ass finger. But yeah, there we go. So we added windshield washer. Boom, it's there. That's how it's done. So that's how we kind of do. That's how we add the windshield washer. We add the coolant to both, make sure both are full, and that's how we do an oil change on these Genesis. So there you guys have it. Video will be up on YouTube. So let's get back to it. Let's get it wrapped up. All we got left to do is those plastic pieces right there, and it's ready to go back on the road.